Alright everyone, I hope all of you had a nice and refreshing weekend and ready kayo bagong linggo na naman para harapin ang merkado, no? Now, I'm not gonna lie, the week didn't exactly start off strong. So, we'll be focusing dun sa mga requested charts ninyo para mapagbigyan ko, no, medyo makahabol ako ng konti dun sa listahan natin. Now, we'll be starting off with web. Etong web, we saw a push to the upside here, diba? Dito yung PCSO na news. It pushed higher. Sabi ko nga sa mga Patreons ko, it pushed essentially into this area of previous support, now turned resistance. Lumagpas tayo ng konti, but today we did turn back. So ngayon, ang mga inaantabayanan kong scenarios dito sa Philweb are as follows. Number 1, maaaring mag-pull back tayo even all the way dito sa 2.58. If mag-hold yan and we start pushing higher, especially if we create new highs based off this swing high, then baka targetin natin tong zone na to between 3.33 hanggang 3.51. Tas kung mabasag yan, as you can see here, next levels natin are 3.78 followed by 4.2. Another potential scenario is baka mag-form tayo ng parang inverse head and shoulders pattern dito sa area na to. Pero syempre, medyo maaga pa, hindi pa natin alam kung mabubuo ba talaga yon. We need to wait and see what happens within the next few candles in order for us to determine kung pwede nga bang mangyari yon. Now, the more negative scenarios are kung mag-push to pababa, we break beneath 2.58, mag-hold tayo underneath it. Number 1, baka balikan natin tong parang semi-gap fill na naganap before. I understand na napuno na niya yung gap, but it wasn't exactly the strongest of candles, if you know what I mean. Or, we might come back and test yung support natin at 2.25, sorry. If 2.25 breaks altogether, baka balikan natin tong mga lows na naiwan natin from before, no? For now, what I would personally prefer to see is yun nga, an orderly pullback, siguro some type of flag na structure pababa nitong 2.58 na area, and then maybe we wait and see kung makakakuha ba tayo ng bullish rejection or bullish structure off of that particular level, and if so, then that might be a precursor na baka pwede siyang tumulak pa further to the upside, again targeting yung mga resistance areas or levels that we discussed kanina. Next, pag-usapan naman po natin yung green. Now, tong green, maraming nag-request sa kanya. I've turned off yung volume para lang mas makita natin yung mga candlesticks. Okay, but essentially, what's been going on dito sa green is we've been trading within this wider range between 1.44 hanggang 1.80 something, no? I say 1.80 something kasi ilang beses siya nag-attempt na basagin to the upside, so we have had to adjust our levels along the way. But essentially, nagkakaroon tayo ng mga mini fake outs na laging hindi natutuloy. Okay? Ito, akala natin pwede nang tumuloy, hindi rin siya dumiretso. Had it closed above this particular area here, I think we would have gone for yung next level of resistance at 2.13. Unfortunately, nag-hold siya, nag-act as resistance, we push back lower, binalikan natin yung bottom end ng range. So, hindi ako nagugulat na marami nag-request kasi syempre number 1, maaaring meron mga breakout traders that try to get in kaso hindi tumuloy. And number 2, we did come back to the bottom end of the range. Now, I've mentioned numerous times in the past na I'm not a big fan of buying at support simply because it's support. Kasi syempre, pwede namang mabasag yan eh. At the same time, hindi rin ako big proponent na buying on breakout kasi nga pwedeng mag-fake out tulad ng nangyayari dito. Okay? So, kung kunwari, ang tinatanong dito is, would you have bought at support? No. I would have bought, maybe, kung nagkaroon tayo ng matinding fake out dito sa support, pinakat yung mga tao, tas binawi agad. That could be a signal na may trap na nagaganap and that might interest me moving forward. But unfortunately, hindi yun nangyari, no? We came close, almost tagged yung support, we bounced, but essentially, we're still caught within all of this chop. Can we segment yung chop? Sure, I've done so here. But I wouldn't be very eager to trade it kasi nga, as I've mentioned numerous times in the past, usually kapag matagal nang nag-range, mahirap tansyahin kung saan ka ba dapat lumabas kasi hindi mo alam kung saan maaaring naipit yung ibang tao, ano yung mga plano nila, baka iba yung pagsukat nila ng range, and if so, baka hindi umabot sa target mo. And it just makes things a lot harder kapag very established na yung range, at least for me. Okay, now, I am not saying it doesn't work. I'm just saying that it's hard for me to make it work para sa akin. Kung kunwari, from here, based on those segments, if we can hold above 1.52, then we might trade a while between 1.52 hanggang 1.64. And if we can take out tong 1.64 hanggang 1.68 na area, then we might start trading above etong segment naman na to hanggang 1.64 to 1.85. Okay, but for now, honestly, there's not a lot going on just yet. Maybe it pushes to the upside sooner rather than later, but based on yung current na location or current na price, medyo hindi pa siya exciting to look at just yet. Next, tignan naman po natin tong now, no? Itong now, similar sa ginawa ng web, we did see a strong push to the upside. Inabot niya itong area of previous support, turned resistance. Doon tayo nakahanap ng konting laban, and then we did push to the downside, essentially undoing this strong move up. Tapos today we gap down, and we never really filled that gap, no? Almost, but not quite. Now, based off of that, yung scenario na nasa utak ko is either mag-range lang tayo dito, maybe, between 0.88 hanggang 1.06, which might sound like an appealing range, but again, you have to consider na considering na etong strong move up malamang maraming humabol, at itong strong move down malamang maraming hindi nakalabas, maaari, okay, I'm not saying sigurado, maaari na if this starts moving higher, yung ibang mga naipit dito ay mag-decide lumabas at mahirapan umangat yung price at least on the onset, no? So, hanggang hindi tayo nagko-close at nag-hold strongly above 1.06, I am not gonna consider this range from 1.06 hanggang 1.24. Okay, but if we can do so, if mabasag natin tong 1.06 and we hold above it, then maybe 1.24 yung next na resistance, followed by 1.33, followed by 1.41. However, kung kunwari naman from here we roll over and break beneath 88 cents, obviously, bagong 52-week low na naman, and the next level of support will now be at 69 cents na. Okay? So, that's something that I'm watching out for dito sa now to see what happens next. If we do get a continued push, if we see more momentum to the upside, then it might be something to consider in the days ahead. But for now, kasi kahit na yung news niya na they were planning to spend like 7.8 billion over 10 years, honestly, that's not a lot of money from a telco perspective. So, unless meron pa silang ibang mga plano down the pipeline na hindi pa nila rin i-reveal, parang it's not the type of news na talagang tutulak or magiging very strong fundamental driver para dito sa now. Next, let's talk about RLC, no? Now, tong RLC, like we discussed before, again, meron na naman siyang wide range na pinaglalaroan dito. And essentially, this was possibly an overshoot. Kumbaga sa coloring book, lumagpas lang tayo ng konti sa linya. Kasi when we came back down and came back up, ito na yung nag-hold na sa resistance level natin. And then we see a strong push to the downside. And now we're more or less back at support, kung saan yung lower end ng range natin. Okay? Which is around 15.3 to 15.5. Okay. Again, don't get married or don't get attached to one particular price kaagad. It's always an area. Okay? Kahit na may malinis na area or line of support, it doesn't necessarily mean na kailangan mag-hold yan. Wala pong pakialam yung merkado sa mga guhit natin sa chart. Alright? Now, from here, honestly, unless meron po kayong value area na pinag-aabangan dito sa RLC, it might be more prudent to stand aside muna. Okay? Ano yung mga potential scenarios natin dito? Una, kung mabasag altogether tong 15.3 na level, the next level of support will now be at 14.74. Tapos, itong range natin medyo gugulo. I don't know if that means na mag-widen yung range or maybe we see further downside, revisiting tong mga lows na naiwan dati. But for now, wag natin sobrang pangunahan. Let's see first kung mag-hold nga ba talaga tong 15.3 na level. If we can push higher, let's say mabasag natin tong 16.5 na resistance dito, okay? Then maybe that opens up the possibility na mabalikan natin tong 18.02 na previous level of support, now turned resistance. Kasi after all, nagkaroon tayo ng strong, inefficient move to the downside. And as we mentioned numerous times in the past, usually those types of moves tend to get eaten up. It happened here, got eaten up here. So maybe if we can start trading above 16.5, that opens up the possibility na makain din natin tong move na to. Okay? But for now, siguro hintay-hintay muna. Again, kung meron kayong pinag-aabangan na value area, I'm sure pinag-aralan nyo yan. I'm sure pinagplanuhan nyo yan. So if it gets there, then trigger your trade. But until then, patience might be key. And then finally, tignan po natin tong AEV. Now, itong AEV, I was telling my Patreons na the earliest that I would honestly bother to look at this again is if we can break this pink trend line. Kasi talagang malinis di ba? Kitang-kita naman natin na yan yung direction na pinapuntahan niya. And even if we get a break to the upside, it just means that I might start looking, but it doesn't necessarily mean na we should start trading it. Kasi even on a break to that, of that trend line, meron pa rin tayong resistance dito around 60 pesos. So it's not the greatest of ranges. Okay, plus, this outside of itong resistance na to, meron din tayong mga highs na naiwan dito at maaaring dyan din tayo mauntog. So it's not necessarily the most appealing of trades, but it does open up the possibility na baka mag-form tayo ng some type of inverse head and shoulders pattern dito. And from there, kung mabuo nga yung pattern na yon, maybe it gets traders more excited and we can see a potential upside move in the future. But for now, especially since di pa nga natin nakakross tong pink trend line na to, there's really not much to do outside of waiting. Okay? Kung kunwari from here, we break beneath this purple zone altogether, kasi di ba dito nag-break na, pero kumbaga quote-unquote fake out, di ba? We push back again. Not a lot, but we did. So kung tuluyan tayong mag-hold beneath that, then that opens up this range here from 48.5 hanggang 52.35. And if 48.5 breaks, ang next level of support natin will be at 44.85 na. However, kung tuluyan ngang mabuo yung head and shoulders pattern, then again, maybe it's a positive sign and we can see a push higher towards tong resistance levels at 63.25, followed by 65.19. Now, all that being said, we do need to acknowledge then na more or less we are also trading within this wide range dito sa AEV. I know I've been saying that a lot in today's video, but wala yun yung itsura nung karamihan ng mga na-request If you only zoom in to this portion, then yes, di ba? Mas hindi mo masasabi na may ranging na nagaganap. But if you zoom out and you look at the wider picture, even if you consider na ito lang, itong leg up na to, yung range mo, yun pa rin yung nagaganap Ito yung overshoot mo dito, diba? So, ito overshoot mo sa taas. So, we are still caught within that range. So, we do want to see na sana mabasag siya sooner rather than later para pwede tayong maging mas bullish or mas bearish pa, whichever the case may be, whether we see a break to the upside or we see a break to the downside. But for now, yan po yung mga scenario sa tinitignan ko dito sa AEV. So guys, dito po nagtatapos yung video natin, no? I hope nakatulong po to sa inyo kahit konti and may natutunan kayo kahit papano. And if so, I would really appreciate it if you give this video a like and consider subscribing to my channel. And as always guys, maraming salamat po sa panonood. I really appreciate it. Good luck and happy trading!